From Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. This episode of Two Guys Who Dive, recorded live 31 May 2014. Episode 105, Like the Mailman. Okay, welcome once again to another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive, and I'm your host, Rob Wade, and I'm joined by
Robert Garza,
a.k.a.
Scuba Bob.
Scuba Bob or Bobby Flamingo.
Well, it's Bobby Flamingo when I'm playing poker.
Oh, is that because you got a poker face? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
We were laughing as we were spinning up the show because we were watching over on the side here. We have a server that we also watch what you guys see, so we see that there's a delay, etc. And it gives us an indication that we're actually broadcasting. Because sometimes it looks fine here on the main machine that we're doing the netcast from. It doesn't show dropped frames or anything. But then we could glance over and see the stream coming back around, the end product, what you see, and we can notice if, there's nothing going on.
yeah, which and it's happened in some cases. Yes.
You know, this is software that is relatively new. I say new. It's 2 years old, and for nearly the first full year that we were using it, it was still in beta. And we've been going through a number of various upgrades of the software. In fact, they had another release of the next gen one, 2.0 version. They've kind of opened it up to a public beta.
Oh, okay.
And while they've added some nice features, and they fixed one of the issues that I've had with the 2.0 product. When you see the titles show up at the bottom of the screen, let's see if I can switch to anything that has a title. Do I? No, of course not.
Like that shot?
Yeah, it's a great shot of you.
Thank you.
You know what? Matter of fact, well, let me show you. And you'll get to see our administrivia screen. So each of these lines is a title. It's a single line title. Everything has to be done a line at a time. One of the features that I've asked for is that they add the ability to do multiple lines in a single entry. But each of these has to be its own entry in the scene source. And one of the things that they broke when they first were running with this 2.0 beta, and they just fixed in the latest release of it, is if you put one of these titles up here, like the line for airfields at Broke Mill RV Park, blah, 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 and you want to edit that, it will let you right-click on it, bring up the information, and you can type in whatever you want in place of it. And you can click on save. And so as soon as you jump out of it, then what shows up on the screen is supposed to be what you just typed. Well, up until this latest revision, you could do the change and save it, but then it would not actually it would still be the same thing. So you open back up and it still shows the old thing, even though you just typed and saved the change. Well, they just fixed that. But one of the things that they haven't fixed yet with 2.0 is any changes that you make to cameras. So, for instance, we have 3 cameras in the studio here. You have the full width one that we use for catching both of us, or we expand the view, back it up and everything when we have a third person here. And then we have the one for myself, and we have the one for Scuba Bob. Well, what you can do is you can right click, and this just be aware, I'm about to mess with your head a little bit. I can right click on the source to the video input, and I can play with the focus. And I actually see it on the screen live, just like You see it on the screen live. Let me get it back into focus when my eyes hurt. Okay, and that's great because there's all these things that you might have to change on the fly. The white balance, contrast, brightness, exposure, color tinting, and then of course the zoom and the focus.
Right.
Well, for some reason into the version 2 that they're working on, as soon as you right click and try to edit anything, the camera freezes. So whatever image that it had, that the sensor was picking up at the time you begin to edit, it's locked. And so you can't see any of the changes. You can be doing the faders and doing the sliders for all the adjustments, but you don't see the effect of them until you click OK and it releases the frame again.
Oh, okay.
And then you're like, so it's a total guesswork as to whether you can make those adjustments.
Whether it's
I'm like,
focused
foul.
or not. Or, yeah, right.
That's a huge fail for professional software.
Yeah.
Now, giving them some slack, it's become a very, very popular software because it's so inexpensive compared to competitors like was it Wirestream, and Ustream has their own, Livewire has their own. There's a number of similar types of programs out there. The problem is none of them, unless you pay huge amounts of money, have the kind of features that you get for this low price that XSplit, that is the software we're using, that XSplit has. And so it's got a huge following that's growing, and so they get a lot of people giving feedback on, well, we're having a problem with this. We got this piece of hardware that crashes when we do this kind of thing. And, they're working on those things. So they have like their critical fixes they're working on. They have their important ones, and then they have some that are like, okay, this is not a big deal. It's not a showstopper. And they've also just released a program called Gamecaster. Now, XSplit Broadcaster has been used by, and actually probably is more heavily used by the gaming community to do the live streaming of the games that they're playing.
Right. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, for those of you who are into like Twitch TV and those kind of things, or Justin TV, you're probably familiar with that stuff. Well, they decided they'd been working on, the folks at Split Media have been working on for some time a piece of software that's like Broadcaster, but is more focused specifically for the gamers. So it has a number of features that allows you to do some things that are more unique to the gaming community than to people like us who do this kind of broadcasting. So they came out with Gamecaster. So they've been spending a lot of time kind of getting that up because that was a 1.0 product. Well, but they also hinted, it wasn't a hint, it was an outright statement. They're working on a, excuse me, I just had some grilled hamburgers. And they're working on a professional level product that's focused more on the broadcaster side of the house. So I don't think that is, I think that's separate from this 2.0 that they're in the open beta for. So I'm wondering what that's going to be. The big thing for me is if they had more scenes.
Yeah.
Because when you see us doing the show, there are 12 scenes that you can set up. And so you think, oh, that's a lot of stuff you could set up for something like this. Well, really, when you want to have certain things ready on the fly that you don't have to change a lot, that you want to leave static, that eats up a lot of your scenes. So, for instance, when you watch the beginning, when we first fire the show up and we go broadcast, you see our splash screen, which has our show logo page, basically. TGWD. That's scene 1. Scene 2 is the introduction that you see, has our names emblazoned across the screen and coming at you in 3D. And then that's scene 2. Scene 3 is our episode header. So we have the music that is part of the background and the title items that we change every time. And then I do I do the voiceover live because I'm reading what's on the screen. Mm-hmm. So that's scene 3. Scene 4 is this full shot. Scene 5 is my camera. Scene 6 is his camera. Then we have the screen region. So when we show you stuff that we're going to be showing you a little bit later, when we show you stuff that's on the screen, like, because I have 2 monitors here. So on the second monitor, I bring up, it's the desktop, and so I bring up typically, not always, but typically Internet Explorer, so we can go right to websites showing you YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. So that's for the screen region. And then, so that's, we're now up to scene 8. Now, I typically have either still shots or slideshows. So whenever we show you a sequence of photographs, that's dedicated on a slideshow scene. The next scene that we have, scene 9, is our news alert one, which we don't use that often, but it's nice to people jump in with a CFP news alerts. So we have that ready if we want to use it. Now scene 10 is typically where we have our videos or a sequence of videos, which we have a video for you. We have a video for you tonight, as a matter of fact. And then scene 11 is our administrivia. Mm-hmm. And then scene 12, the last one, is the trailer. So when you see the little CFP and the 2 guys who dive tag and the Ceti Fox Productions tag clip, that's as a sequence of videos basically on the final scene. So there are a lot of times that I've really wanted to have many things lined up. So at least having 4 more scenes would be pretty much perfect for our broadcast, but it would be great to have be great to have even more scenes than that. And I'm sure there are other netcasters who do even more things that we do that may have like green screen type of stuff, chroma key kind of effects. And I'm getting way into the weeds of video production here. But those who are in the TV world know what I'm talking about. So it'd be cool to have that. So what they're hinting at is that this product would probably have more of those things. Now, supposedly, you also have where I wonder if that works. No, it doesn't. No, because we're using the 1.2 product. In the 2.0 product, they're adding the ability to preview another scene by right-clicking on it. So I could see if I've got everything queued up correctly on another scene that's not active, that's not the live one you see here, by right-clicking on it, and it'll bring up a preview.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. So that would be kind of be neat if you had that like a Skype scene, or you maybe had this supports IP cameras. So if we had somebody like a man on the street kind of thing that had an IP camera going with or with the microphone and everything, we could see if they're ready for us to and everybody's seen those TV news reports and stuff where they're getting ready to go live to Crystal out at the San Antonio Fiesta, and she's like being accosted by somebody, and they're like, and she's not ready for the camera.
She's not ready.
So that tells me they weren't previewing the scene to see if she's ready to go on camera. So it's those kind of things. So anyway, so we've been dealing with I'd love to move to version 2 because they've got a lot of great features we'd like to take advantage of. But it's not ready yet. So, episode title of today is Like the Mailman, because we're going to show you that many divers will dive in any kind of weather, no matter what. I'll dive during the winter when it's cold, even now when it's cooler and in the middle of a storm, which we did. Had a great time, though. A little bit of a programming note for the 14th of June. We will not have a netcast. We'll be preempted by us going to get our visual inspection, our PSI recertification. You're required to do that every 3 years, and we're up in August. So the next available classes that they had to do the refresher were on the 14th and the 28th, and I have a class going on the weekend of the 28th. So So the 14th was our earliest available option to get that knocked out. So that's basically a day trip because we have to drive all the way to Killeen, Texas, to do that. So, and we had fun the last.
Yeah. Well, actually, when we went and got our
certification,
our CPR certification.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
When we went and got the tank inspection, I had a bad abscess, remember?
Yeah, you were in pain.
I was in so much pain that I passed out on the way back.
Wow.
I took, what was it, a whole bottle of Advil.
You were downing them like candy, man.
Yeah, I was chewing those things. But
Chocs chewables, remember those Chocs chewables?
Yeah. But hopefully, knock on wood, this time it'll be a good trip.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you watched the podcast last week or caught it on YouTube, you saw some pictures and heard me talking about how my wife, our producer, Tara, was in a very serious rollover accident caused by some idiot in it turns out, a gray or silver Mercury Milan. They did get that much in the police report.
Oh, okay.
So, caused her to run off the road and roll the rodeo, which is now junked in San Antonio. We're waiting insurance to give us what we can for it so we can get a replacement vehicle. But she was, as the doctor predicted, she was experiencing soreness all over, muscle relaxant's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she's pretty much recovered. I mean, a little twinge here and there, but nothing bad. So she was back to work, of course, Tuesday, but that kind of made the weekend suck for her because, quite frankly, we had the 4-day weekend, and when you're all drugged up and just sore, you don't feel like doing a lot. So she didn't really get to enjoy the 4-day weekend. So too bad. Too bad. But she's doing well now. So thank the good Lord for that. Yeah, she was definitely protected.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. A little bit of tech news. Kind of interesting. Fabian Custeau, who, yes, related to the late Jacques Cousteau, made a custom underwater housing for his Lumia 1020.
Oh, wow.
And I've got, speaking of screen region, you get to see that live in action here.
Check that out.
Pretty cool. So check out, matter of fact, it says this, check out this custom underwater housing. Okay, so it says, last month we learned that about Fabian Custeau's Mission 31. As you probably can surmise from his last name, he's the grandson of the legendary oceanographer explorer Jacques Yves Cousteau. Fabian will attempt to spend 31 days underwater to live and work. Nokia is helping to sponsor the event, which is why you'll find devices like the Lumia 1020 living with him underwater to help document the achievement. And as evidently in this interview, you got a glimpse of this underwater housing that he made. See if we can get the video to actually.
So yeah, I think we're good. I think that about wraps it up. So
great. I'll send a follow-up email.
This is a commercial.
there's nothing much to follow up on, so
Well, we should regroup.
I hate those commercials that allow you to
This
skip.
is the regrouping.
Yeah, it's called pre-roll.
Cool, I'll ping you later.
Yeah, I saw
You're pinging me now. What do you want to ping about?
that too.
Next steps?
Like,
There are no next
pre-roll
steps.
commercials.
We just solved it.
Huh. All right.
And you at least, that lets you get like 5 seconds into where you can skip it.
In just a matter of hours, ocean explorer Fabian Custeau will splash down near the Florida Keys. He's going to start this month-long underwater study more than 60 feet below the surface.
It's called Mission 31. So for 31 days, he and a team of aquanauts are going to live, work, and dive underwater to study things like pollution and climate change. And it's all happening in a one-of-a-kind research lab here.
And guess what? We've got Fabian Custeau live with us now from Isla Mirada, Florida. Also the grandson of the famed ocean pioneer Jacques Cousteau. Good to have you doing something that even your grandfather never did. First up, do you have to live underwater for 31 days to find out what you're hoping to find?
Well, it's great to see you guys virtually. I wish you were down here. It's a beautiful day out.
Hey, we'll come down if you want us to come down to
just have
Florida.
to ask
I mean, what
once.
the heck?
You should come play with our beautiful toys. It is necessary to live on the frontier in order to be able to film things that you can't from the surface. And giving us a full lunar cycle to do so gives us the luxury of seeing and documenting things, as well as bringing back scientific data that otherwise you just can't do.
Okay, but you're going to be underwater for 31 days. I mean, physically and mentally, how have you all prepared for this?
It is a fairly unusual endeavor. It does require a lot of preparation, so we've been just through the last 10 days of very intensive training with helmets as well as full face masks, and we're training with some of our latest, greatest equipment. And this is very unusual diving. It allows us to dive anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a day, but we have to be able to go through some of the contingencies that normal recreational scuba divers do not. Now, I've brought a smattering of some of our equipment that we'll be using down there, specifically for Mission 31, from these wonderful water shot housings that were custom built just for us so that we can share stories via social media. And we can bring these lovely Nokia devices that we'll be able to put in there and then go down to up to 100 meters into the water.
100 meters?
Beyond that, we've got some wonderful cameras that only the best and the brightest in Hollywood use, such as James Cameron. We've got the Red Dragon 6K resolution camera, which is 9 times what HD can bring you in resolution, as well as these wonderful amphibico housings. And we've got some of the top cameramen in our team, such as Tom Hamilton, Kip Evans, Matt Ferraro, and others, who are going to help us bring back live and taped beautiful imagery from underwater at Mission 31.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was sweet. Yeah, I'm like, okay, who made that case and how much? Now, normally, to get the really good quality cases, like Ike Light, who's probably the most well-known for making custom cases for a number of like regular cameras that are not normally sold as underwater cameras, you know, various Canons and stuff like that. Ike Light makes a ton of those, and I believe they make a case for the at least the iPhone 4.
Yeah, the last time I looked, which was some time back, they made one for the 4S. They didn't, you know, and I'm not sure if they make one for the 5. Well, I'm pretty sure they do now, but you're talking a lot of money. Those are like high-end cases. They specialize in underwater photography, you know, photography, period. I mean, anything that they do is high dollar.
I was looking for...
I mean, some of these cases will go up in the I mean, just the case, that's not including the equipment that goes in it, are an upwards about $1,500–1,600.
Let me see if I can find out from Leisure Pro if they have any Ike Light cases.
And I believe they do for the Canons.
They got the O-rings.
Mm-hmm.
What? Just an O-ring?
That's it.
What? That's not right. Let me just try Ike Light. Of course, they make other things too, like lights.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Lights. Ike Light camera housings. All right, let me switch to screen region again. So you can see some of the housings that they have here. Canon. A lot of the Canons they really like. $239. A lot of these cases cost you more than the camera. Look at this. It's got, of course, it's got the tray too. Housing for the Sony CX580. Normally $900. You save $70. Get it for $829.95. There's a lot of the Canons. Nikon, Coolpix, $239. Look at this. For the Sony, $400 for that puppy. Oh my gosh. Okay, this has got the serious Go Nuts tray.
Yeah, that's like what I was telling you about.
For the Canon EOS 6D camera. Okay, this is a whole kit. It's got O-rings and attachments, stuff like that. $1,559.95. That's craziness. That's crazy. if the camera housing were made of cheese, would you eat it?
I don't know if I'd even want to touch it.
No kidding. I wouldn't want to get it in the water because I'd be too afraid. So
For $1,500, that thing better take
Panasonic?
pictures on its own.
Yeah, really. It should just be on a little motorized thing that follows me around. I just go,
There's one for 13, 14.
look at that. That is remarkable. Meanwhile, you can go to Walmart and get a GoPro Hero 3 for about $300 with all the old
Yeah.
trimmings. Which
Yep.
those are cool. I mean, they do a great job. They're not. I mean, they're great for the quick adventurer kind of thing, but not. I wouldn't recommend those for if you're doing the serious photography type stuff and serious videography. But if you're wanting just the action shots and it's an inexpensive camera to take with you just for everything.
Yeah.
Because it's so small.
Yeah. When I did the zombie run, when I was part of the obstacle course for the zombie run
Right.
a month ago or so,
Right.
one of the actual runners had one attached as in a harness to his chest.
chest.
So, yeah, so he was, he was running. I think he even had the remote in his hand.
Wow.
And I'm not sure because he went by me so quick, but I think he might have had one on his back too. So
Just to see everybody eating this dust.
yeah, pretty much.
That's somebody who's really stuck on himself.
The only thing left that he needed was one on his head, so when he
Wow.
turns, the harness for the
That
head.
is funny.
But yeah, I mean, pretty good cameras. They're awesome.
They
but
are.
They're
They
small.
really are.
Yeah.
They are tiny. I was surprised at how small. Like I said, you can get them at Walmart.
Mhm.
And all the little accessories that you get. I don't think you can get the helmets, but you can get the attachments
For the helmet. Yeah.
A friend of mine, Courtney,
Mhm.
was asking me questions about those, and I was making suggestions, pointed her to some websites as to here's the kind of helmets you should get. If you're going to do wakeboarding and that kind of stuff, then here's the kind of helmets, and here's the different positions. They got ones you can put multiple cameras on.
Mhm.
So and they got like this. You look like one of those deep sea fish. It has a little
Yeah, and
light at the end that dangles to catch other fish.
Pointing at you.
Yeah. So you can point the camera at you. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Wild West.
Wow.
So also real quick in other tech news, Microsoft just tweeted out a very cryptic picture, and I don't think I won't bother pulling it up. Very cryptic feature, basically saying that they're going to be announcing some new products at Computex in June. But the pictures they showed are like close up, like if you were to take a phone or whatever and then hold it up to here. That's the image you see, and you're like, what is that? Like a volume control or like the Windows logo on one of the two pieces of the picture. One of them, I swear, looked like it was a variation on the Xbox One.
Oh wow.
So I was like, what are they going to do with that? They've already announced that they're now doing the Xbox One without Kinect. For those who insist that they just don't want to spend the extra $100 to take advantage of the features that the Kinect can give them. They're purists. They only want it for gaming and nothing else. Losers. Get with the program. Nobody does console gaming anymore. Get a PC. You really can do some gaming. Have better graphics and everything. Anyway, so who knows what this is going to be, but there's speculation that because they didn't have the Surface Mini ready for this last announcement, that they may be ready to announce it then. I don't think so. I think it's too soon. I think it's probably more likely closer to the holidays.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd agree with that because that's when everybody's buying, so they're going to try to cash in on that.
Yeah, but I absolutely am going to get the Surface 3 Pro. I absolutely am. Got my bonus coming. That's where it's going. It's already. That is going to be the thing that I start carrying around with me most of the time instead of the laptop. Because it'll be able to do all the stuff connecting to my synthesizers and stuff at church and everything, so I won't need the big laptop. The laptop I'll take with me when we go on our scuba diving trip because it is perfect and powerful enough to do the netcast from there.
Right.
So, And last but not least, this is not really tech, but it was just kind of interesting. I don't follow sports at all. It bores me to tears. However, I do follow politics. And, of course, a lot of politics exploded out of the issue with the Sterling, the guy who owned the L.A. Clippers. Well, of course, they fined him and said you have to sell the team, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was announced that former CEO
Steve Ballmer
for Microsoft, Steve Ballmer, $2 billion to buy the LA Clippers.
And the wife agreed to the sale.
Yeah, well, evidently, there's a weird sequence of events. He and his estranged wife, Sterling and his estranged wife, both have ownership of the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently he just got himself declared or was declared, I forget what the legal term is, but basically he has Alzheimer's and executorship of the estate shifted to the wife, who has all of her mental faculties, or so it's believed. And so she's the one who is able to say, yep, here you go. $2 billion. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Amazing. $2 billion for a sports team. So anyway, any new Apple stuff coming?
Everything is hush-hush.
I know. More rumors keep dropping here and there.
Everything is hush-hush. The latest that I heard about the new Apple devices that will probably be coming out is going to be where they're trying to tie in again, and I think we mentioned this before, a lot of the health things.
Yeah.
They're trying to push more like the heart meters, and right now you can get all these kinds of things like step meters and all that stuff by third-party apps. But they're kind of hinting to the fact that Apple now may just go ahead and combine all of those together with something that they do to kind of start selling devices like the little pulse meters,
Fitbit,
and all that other stuff, because I guess there's a huge push on that now, especially
because I think companies like Fitbit are pretty much supported. At least their current devices are supported on all the platforms, because I know there's a bunch of apps on Windows Phone and Apple and Android.
That is what everybody's hinting at, and then of course the whole iOS 8 is going to have supposedly a whole new look, and that's what they're speculating.
They're going to change it again?
Well, I don't know if they're going to change it.
Now, I did hear what they were trying to do, but I guess they've backed off because it's not going to be ready in time for the target date. Is they were trying to follow in the footsteps of Android and be able to do a split screen for multitasking.
Oh, I haven't heard anything about that.
I saw a picture, or it was a render of what they were trying to do, but evidently they're not going to be able to have it all fleshed out and tight by the release time. So it'll probably come in like an 8.5 update or something like that.
Well, I see. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
And that was the latest that I had heard, is that they're going to go kind of more onto the fitness type kick that everybody's into right now. And they're going to try to tie in all these apps together so that Apple can control them from one. And then, of course, the big news that they bought Beats. So now,
interestingly, somebody commented, or one of the tech bloggers wondered why it was only 500 million, and so they're wondering what exactly they got for the 500 million. In other words, for Beats, for Apple to buy Beats, should have been a lot more than that if they got the whole thing. So the speculation is, what did they actually buy? What portions did they actually get?
I think that they stayed away from the actual
headphones,
the headphone thing, and it was more on the music. See, because they started the Beats
music service,
the music service, and I think
they're trying to bolster their music service.
Right. They're trying to get that because they did what's called the iMusic or whatever it is, to where you can stream live music. Mm-hmm. I think Beats had their stuff a little bit better together on that aspect of it, so I think they said, you know what, we'll just go ahead and take that.
Hey, but that makes sense.
I don't think Apple has been known to make their own devices and do that. I've never seen them go and actually buy somebody else's. They can make headphones. I mean, they redesigned the iPods, the little things that come with their phone for the earpiece.
But are they any better?
I
always hated
those things are
earpieces.
awesome.
Really?
They got that down. I mean, if they wanted to, they can design their own headphones, and I'm pretty sure they would sell. They might not be Beats or sound as good as like a Bose and all these other ones, but I'm pretty sure they give them competition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so I think that's what they did.
All right. Well, neither one of us have gone to any movies recently. You know, Tara was taken out of commission, although she did go out. She had kind of the girls' night out, Courtney and her mom, and they went out to see Maleficent. I was like, you have fun. I'm not interested. I'm not an Angelina Jolie fan. And this is basically kind of doing a backstory twist, a reboot sort of the Disney character, the witch. Was that Snow White?
Yeah.
So anyway, but they enjoyed it. It was a good movie. So I guess if we were to get her review, it'd probably be an 8 to a 10 somewhere up there. They really liked it. So I think that maybe that's the kinder, gentler Angelina Jolie. You know.
Yeah, I don't.
Who knows? Who knows?
So you don't like her movies at all?
Take them or leave them. If it like is floating on the TV, I'm trying to think if I actually gone to the movies, spent money to see one of her movies. I don't think so. You know what? One exception, and it's before she became a known entity, and it wasn't because she was in it at all, because I'd never really heard of her. Hackers.
Oh yeah,
because it's it's a tech, it's a geek movie.
That's when she was in the real young, dark.
Before all the augmentation, and she had the really really short hair.
Yeah.
And it was that's a dated movie now. Had a great soundtrack, which I have, and fun. It was a fun movie. It's the stand up to the man and stand up to the big corporation. Blah blah blah. It's all that.
I wanted somebody and I didn't catch it. At the movies, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I actually did like when I saw
Didn't see it.
And that's when her and Brad Pitt first actually met and this whole thing started. The chemistry in the movie was actually pretty good, and it was kind of funny when you first see it. I actually enjoyed it, but the movie that I have actually gone to pay to go see, and she's
Tomb Raider.
No, and she came out in. Well, I actually saw that, but I didn't actually see that at the movies. Was Wanted. The movie Wanted. They
can't recall that.
They curve bullets and stuff. It's so surreal that it can't happen.
Right.
But it was a cool movie. She starred in it, and then of course at the end she just pretty much, kind of changes to the other side, and in the process of doing so, she eliminates herself because she's one of the bad people. It's a pretty cool movie.
Huh. Yeah. So her movies, if I'm flipping through channels and there's nothing else on, and there's something exciting going on, I might settle in to watch it. That's how I watch the Tomb Raider movies.
Oh, okay.
You just happen to be flipping through on TNT or one of those, and okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. But we're planning on ending the podcast tonight at 9:00 because Tara and I are finally going to go see the X-Men movie. So I'll definitely be bringing y'all a review on that for next week. Let's see. So, going back to the title of the episode, like the Mailman, we were talking about last week that we were trying to get up a little group of divers to go out to Lake Amistad last Sunday afternoon after church, kind of do a cookout thing. So we brought the trailer. Troy towed it because obviously our rodeo is not capable of towing anything now, much less itself. And so we took the trailer out there, which that was an interesting story. I'll tell you that in a second. And we had the Joneses, so I had that whole family was here. The McGonagalls were all here. Jiggle the wire there. There we go. And let's see who else. Trish and Gay were there.
Oh, okay.
They did not end up diving. because it was actually when we pulled up. The sun had broken out, but then another front built out of nowhere and was starting to rain and blow, but we still fired up the grill and we were enjoying some food. Chris and Renee Paradise brought their sons, but only the older one, Brandon, dove. But they dove, and then Brandon dove, but not the youngest son. But all of them are certified. Let's see. One of my former students, Rowdy, happened to pull up, saw us there, and said hi and everything. But I was like, dude, you come here to dive? No, I'm coming here to fish. I said, have you been diving at all? He said, no, man, I haven't done. I'm like, see, get your gear, and you'll go out diving. I said, let me know when you want to get back in the water. We'll spin you back up on your skills, and we'll get back out there. So we had a really good crowd out there. But in the end, there were only the three of the Paradise family, and then Troy and myself that went diving. And so I have, for your viewing enjoyment, I have video.
Nice.
So starting out, as we kind of expected, anytime you have rain and wind, it's going to churn stuff up. And so your visibility typically drops. By the way, that's a test question. Those of you looking to get certified. So you can see a lot of particulates. Now, look, if you notice his, this was Chris's custom Ziegel BC, back inflation. Notice the camo. Back up. Look at that. Custom made. And then Renee has got, like, seriously everything's pink. So Tara was like ogling that. She's like, oh, that's awesome. So Chris is checking out their son, who insisted, they dove in Guam. So they're not used to, well, this was actually their first freshwater dive.
Oh, okay.
Ever. So Brandon was like, oh, why do I have to wear a wetsuit? And he was just like, here's a 1 mil, full, put it on. And he was resisting the whole time. Then he gets in the water and realized, it's 65 degrees. He never wore a wetsuit when they were in Guam. Never.
You don't need it.
No, you don't. You really don't. But of course, Troy and I were in our 5 mils. By this point, they noticed that Brandon was already starting to turn. His lips were turning blue.
Okay.
So he signaled that they were going back up. So they aborted their dive.
What depth is this?
I think here we were pushing 60. I think max depth on this dive, I have to go back and look at the log, was 70. Selfie. course, this is. Actually, visibility opened up acceptably as we got deeper. It wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't.
It's just it would have looked nicer if it wasn't completely cloudy. Because by that time we already heard thunder, and it was starting to come down. I've got a picture showing it was starting to rain, kind of like when we come up at a night dive.
Yeah.
It was like that going in.
Oh wow. Now, that was awesome when it was raining.
Yeah. I
That
was
is
telling Chris about that.
that is like the best thing.
Visibility is pretty good. He's a good distance away from me.
No, see the thing is visibility is bad. The cameras are really good.
Yeah, it is a good camera.
It's a good camera. The Sea Life DC-12
DC 1400.
14. There you go.
And see, the video light on this thing is just awesome. I mean, I had my primary light with me, but I never used it. This was plenty of light. And because it's LED, it doesn't kill your battery so quick.
That is pretty cool.
I was like, what is this? I was like, oh my gosh, it's one of those big umbrellas.
Oh,
This thing was huge. It had to have come off one of those boats.
yeah.
That was at like 69 feet. Chris and Renee, typically, they have some aluminum tanks, but they typically dive steel. You talk about taking forever to fill those darn things up. They brought me 4 tanks, and I filled, of course, 2 at a time with my compressor. It took like a half hour each pair.
So it normally takes about
20 minutes max. Of course, I was filling these from complete zero. Because they had he does his own visuals and stuff. So they'd already been prepped and everything.
steel tanks require a little more work to visually inspect.
He does some reg servicing though. When he worked for the dive shops down there in Guam, he learned how he got certified, I guess, to do a number of regs. So and we were heading back at this point, so we're coming up a little bit shallower, looking at other bits of structure there. See a lot of overhangs. Well, this was kind of interesting. We were trying to figure out exactly what this was. It almost looked like it was something pouring out of the rock. See, it looks like it's coming right out of the crevice. Wow. I'm like, what in the heck is that? And there was no movement really of water other than what we were creating, so it just kind of hung there. If I see a cave, I gotta go up there and stick the camera in there and see if there's any big catfish.
Reminds me of that scene of The Deep where the Morio comes out.
It takes a bite out of you. So I was adjusting the arm for the light. Let's see if I can see more. Nope. Shallower. I think we're in the 30s. 30-foot range. 34. Selfie.
Gotta get that selfie
You
in
know it. Well, since I'm always doing the picture taking and video taking, I never get myself in the camera unless I hand it off to somebody.
Yeah.
When we go to Balmoral, normally we'll spend more time. And I turn the light off just so I can see, just pick up the ambient light. So you can see basically that's just the light filtering down and his light. And I turn the light back. So we're under a pretty big overhang at this point. I mean, it's literally flat rock above us. So you see all the air bubbles gathered at the top. It's pretty cool. Creates a neat reflective effect. Just about down here. Yeah, that's a huge overhang. So that was our exciting dive. Now, aren't you wishing you went?
Yeah. Except I actually thought, it was gonna be kind of bad because it was.
It was. This is what it looked like when we got in the water.
Yeah.
So it was coming down pretty decent. It was just totally overcast. But then over our shoulder, over my shoulder, as I'm taking the picture, it was much darker clouds and thunder. Now, when we came back up after the dive, it was thundering, a
Yeah.
little bit of lightning. We're like, let's get out of the water. Chris, of course, he came up with his family, and they got out of the water. They were warming up. Matter of fact, Brandon jumped immediately into their truck and had the heater on so he could get warmed up.
It gets cold down
Yeah,
there.
it does. And then Chris said he had the dive flag, so he just kind of took one of the little indented cove parts of the rock wall there, just kind of dropped down shallow, just check stuff out, and he said, "Well, that's pretty cool out there."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, I wish the weather had been a little bit better to cooperate for a for your first ever freshwater dive, but hopefully it wasn't too bad. And he's like me. It's water. I can dive in it. I'm going.
Yeah.
So he's definitely hardcore. And I'm like, yes, that's what I like. All right. So we're coming up on 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and knock out the Administrivia. Next Del Rio Dive Club meeting, 19 June at 7 p.m. at Rudy's Restaurant. Make sure you bring your sweet baby.
Yeah. 'Cause
good stuff.
Don't like that sauce.
And dive classes. Need to sign up quick if you want to make the June one. I've only got 2 slots left right now. So June 26th through the 29th, and the next one after that, July 24th through the 27th. Then August 28th through the 31st. September 25th through the 29th. And you can get your air fills, the big Cascade system there Mike McCarson has out at the Broke Mill RV Park out on Highway 90 West. Just give him a call at 830-719-2935. And, of course, you can keep in touch with us by checking out the latest stuff at our website. Just go to www.delriodiveclub.com, or even better, check us out on Facebook. Just look for Del Rio Dive Club. Send us messages or Skype. Just look for TGWD. And, of course, you can always contact Scuba Bob at his email address, rsgarza821@yahoo.com. Although you took too long to read your email because I sent you all the information on our our research.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It happens.
You know,
but he does read his own email.
I
And that's
do
what
read
took
it,
so
and
long.
that's what took so long. I don't have somebody reading my email for me. They got axed during sequestration.
That's it. So nice. And you can also follow him on the Twitter. Just look out at rsgarza435. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter. Robert CFP stands for Ceti Fox Productions, or send me an email. robert.wade@cetifox.net. And that pretty much sets us up for this evening. Hopefully, Tara and I are going to make it out to the local Cinemark Theater, which we just got the Cinemark app, by the way. They finally kicked it out. I'd been exchanging email with them. I've been exchanging, they do the little Cinemode commercials there at the theater. And I would just say, well, we can't do Cinemode because they don't have the app for us. But so I fired off an email to them saying, I would love to take advantage of the cool stuff that you have with your Cinemark app and the Cinemode and all that, but you don't have it for Windows Phone. And they responded saying, sit tight, we're working on it. And then sure enough, it came out this week.
Cool.
Yeah, so. And we use Fandango, which I really love that app, but we use that typically because when you buy the tickets, and I don't know if the Cinemark app does or not because we're going to try it out tonight.
Yeah.
Does it do the QR code?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Perfect.
It does.
Perfect.
It does.
All right, that's what I like. I love being able to walk up and just go.
Yeah, you just scan your phone and
Love
good
it.
to go.
I love that feature.
Yeah, we've had it for, about 5 years now, but, slowly but surely you're
Well, see,
catching up.
everywhere else in the world had it.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you could go to
BlackBerry had it, I think.
No, I mean other countries.
Oh, okay.
They made the app for other countries, but not the United States. I'm like, what's the deal? I mean, you could go to Brazil, and they had the Cinemark app for Brazil, for Mexico, for Germany. I mean, they have for these other countries, but not the United States.
I've realized that, like, even now that, like, with my cycling, right, I saw like this cool helmet that I wanted.
Not available in the United States.
It's a UK thing, I'm like, really? I mean, come on, just if you're gonna make a product, make it out for everybody.
Exactly.
But why they do that, I don't know.
Who knows? So anyway, we're gonna go check that out.
All right.
We'll love to hear from you. There was nobody in our chat room today, sad to say. But we always like to hear from you. If you jump in the chat room while we're doing the show, we will interact with you. I promise.
Yes.
We won't blow you off because I check periodically, see if there's anybody in there.
We do.
You ask us questions. You make comments. You fill in the blanks when we're drawing it, when our tongues are tied or we're trying to remember something.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes Tara will come in here with a little Post-it note and for
she'll
answer
flag
to
us.
a question. But if you guys do that, it helps us out.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can feed into you will change the direction of the show if you so participate. But after the fact, you can always catch it on YouTube. Just look for our YouTube channel, and we upload it there after the show. And we love to hear your comments, suggestions, ideas. And if you're in the local area, especially if you're a diver, and you think you'd like to kind of jump in with us, we won't leave you hanging. We won't just, point the camera in and all go, and stare at you, hoping that you'll come up with something witty. We'll make you look good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll have fun with you and show you how easy it is to do this stuff. I've done this show solo a number of times, so you got to imagine somebody on the other side of that camera, and you're talking to them. It's like talking to yourself, but you're imagining.
It's so easy a caveman can do it.
That's right. I'm about as close to a caveman as they get. I shave my eyebrows.
No, I didn't say that. Okay, no, I didn't.
I know what you meant, but I shave my eyebrows, so it's not a big deal. Well, listen, we always appreciate you guys getting involved with the show when you do. But we do this because we just have fun with it, and hopefully somebody gets something out of it, and encourage local diving and all that kind of stuff, and maybe give you a little bit of fun and education along the way. But so we will have an episode next week, but remember, on the 14th, we will not have an episode because we'll be getting our recert for visual inspection of scuba tanks.
We'll be on a road trip.
We're on a road trip. Having fun with that. Just don't get sick or have.
I'm gonna try not to, but you know what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to take pictures of us doing the training so that we can.
And there you go.
Yeah, we can bring that back and say
cool.
This is what part of the actual diving thing that we do is aside from
That's
our
idea.
EFR or the first responder course that we do, which is a CPR.
Yeah.
We actually have to maintain tanks, which is another aspect of the diving business that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
Maintaining tanks, is very important because they are expensive. And, if things go wrong with them and stuff like that, if you don't take care of them, they drop them, they do bend and mess up. So we have to go in there and check them.
Yep.
So
make sure they're safe for you to dive.
Exactly. So we don't want something to rupture while you're underwater.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
And you better be close to your dive buddy if that happens.
Or have you guys bring them to us and have Robert or anybody who's going to fill these things and they failed because they were not inspected. That's not good.
Nope, not at all.
People have lost legs and things like that because when these things blow up, they blow up. Okay, so that's what we're going to go do.
That's right. That's right. For your safety.
And ours.
Well, thank you once again. And so that finishes up for us tonight. And we will see you next week in another exciting episode of Two Guys Who Dive. See ya.